Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a while since I've filmed and I do apologize for that, but today is August 10th, 2023. Closing in on 300 subscribers, so if you're new to the channel, first time checking it out, consider giving it a sub. I'd appreciate it. But I thought it'd be a good opportunity to show what's going on in the garden here in August, midsummer. Stuff's not at its prime, where stuff is struggling because of heat, humidity, storms as we had last night. So it's a little overcast today, so I thought it'd be a good day to shoot, talk about some stuff I've added to the garden, show you some stuff I've added to the garden, talk about some failures, and just give you updates on other things that I think about along the way. So I hope you enjoy, and shoot me a comment down below. Tell me what you think. I'd really enjoy looking at the comments and reading what everybody writes. So consider doing that, and I hope y'all enjoy. All right guys, we're gonna start here in the backyard. I believe I might break this up into 2 or 3 parts so the video is not so long. But we're gonna start right here in the corner as Summer Gold. This one I acquired earlier this year, spring. I had another one that was about 3 years old that got taken during this past winter. Just did not like the weather overall, and it just died out for some strange reason. This is a newly planted one, 1 gallon, about 3 foot tall. It's still acclimating. It's got a little burn on the top and on some of the edges of its leaf, but for the most part I'm happy with it so far. It'll get better as the years go by. That's Summer Gold. Side of here you got some Coreopsis. Still got a few blooms on it. Really good firm textured ground cover. Puts yellow flowers all over it. This is a lower petalum that's coming back. This is Purple Diamond. Actually cut it down to the base after winter, and all this is new that's come out, so it's coming back. This is a newly planted Jade Dragon. Kind of a rare one. Struggled a little bit in a container, and I just planted it a few days ago. And it's looks like it's putting on a little bit of new growth up top here. But yeah, really slow growing. Only gets maybe 4 foot in 20 years, something like that. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about that one. Get a little closer look at the foliage. Behind it is some kind of lilac, some kind of proven winter's lilac. I think it's called Bloomerang, purple lilac. It's supposed to be a rebloomer. That was moved from another part of the garden. Some Storm Cloud Amsonia. It's nice baby blue flowers during the spring, and if you cut it back about halfway afterwards, you will get a reflush. Really nice blue-green foliage on it. Have a Virginia Sweetspire. Already trying to put on a little fall color. Great fall color plant though. It's reds to oranges and yellows. Here we have St. Michael. I believe the name this is St. Michael. Yeah, St. Michael the Archangel. This is what it looks like in August. It's just green, but it's a broom. Try to enjoy the brooms because they're a little smaller growing. Here you have a Mugo pine. It's been planted here a few years. Hadn't put on a lot of growth. I'm trying to do some conifers here and there, but this one has managed to survive. I've managed to keep it alive. Just a standard Mugo pine. Next to it have, I think this is Murasaki Kiyohime. It's a nice purple border to it in the spring. A low growing and spreading. Planted underneath this cherry tree right here, which I'll need to limb up pretty soon. behind it have some Ogon spirea. Really nice shrub, kind of cascading form, kind of flows and kind of weeping. It's a really nice shrub. Gold, it gets really bright golden foliage. Gets early flowering, white flowers in the early spring, very early spring, but really nice texture here in the garden. Now here I got a newly planted Scots pine called Penguin. Really interesting, grows in kind of a pyramid shape, slow growing, looking very good so far. Just planted this one 3 or 4 days ago, but it's been on the patio for a couple months, so I was excited to finally get that in the ground. Next to it, this is Acer Palmatum Fireball, Japanese maple. Struggled a little bit. Does get quite a bit of sun here. It's got new growth coming out on it. But the whole top of it died this past winter. It was only planted in September, October last year. Then 2 or 3 months later, we get that hard freeze come through. So I'm happy it's actually pushing growth on the lower part, but the whole top leader is dead. I need to cut it off still. Behind it I have Miss Grace, which I'm enjoying, but half of it didn't do very well, so I may end up replanting another one here, moving this one somewhere else. I know it gets rather big, but I thought it'd be nice to fill this whole space, and it'll take a while to fill that space up. I can cut some of this spirea back, but it's a really nice texture in the garden. Ogon spirea, look it up. Really cool shrub. Now we have Oregon green. It's an Austrian pine, large growing. That'd be really cool to just fill this whole space on the fence over several years, of course. Just really interesting kind of architectural evergreen that grows kind of a weird shape on some of them. Give a really unique shape on it. So I thought it'd be cool to plant there. Oregon green. This is sugar maple monumental. Column are growing sugar maple. Pretty nice sized leaf on it. If you've ever seen one of these that's 20, 30 years old, it'll grow way on up there. But columnar, when it gets several feet wide, I know it's close to these hydrangeas, but I'll trim them or take something out. I'll do something. And we got, these are pinky winky hydrangeas next to it. Already putting on the fall color. Didn't get as much water as it probably should have or needed, but it got quite a bit last night. All right, next to it here, Firefly. This is a really cool reticulated Japanese maple. It's crazy colors in the spring, and it's done very well in this heat here. It's a little muddy right now. I'm sure it'll be better next year. But early spring to mid-spring, late spring, it gets some really insane purples and pinks and yellows. Just all kinds of crazy colors. One you should definitely check out. Here's a deciduous azalea that I just recently planted. This one is called, let's see if I can pull it up. Oh, this is Magenta Rose. It just gets some really bright pink and purple flowers. Grows, I guess, between 4 and 6 foot tall, over 10 years. Just planted a little 1 gallon. This was just planted the other day. next to it, this is American Ginkgo, dwarf, slow grower. It got some cool variegation and swirling variegation earlier in the year. Most of it has since faded. Let's see if I can find a little bit. If you can see it right there, there's a little bit in the camera. Yeah, American Ginkgo. Really cool dwarf. Bright yellow colors in the fall. Alright, then we have Eastlid, or Eastlid, however you say it. Really cool pseudo-subodianum. Super cold tolerant. Gets some really cool reds in the early spring on the edges of these leaves. Reds to kind of a purplish color. Really cool. Lace leaf, cold tolerant. Been really heat tolerant. Got an interesting shape to it. It's already put on quite a bit of growth since I planted it last summer, I believe. Yeah, Eastlid. I believe it's also known as ice dragon. Alright, got a few back here I'll show you. Nothing exceptional. Plum wine. Done come out of peak colors, just green, but a cool Curacao and maple. That full moon leaf on it. Get some purples and pink colors and reds in the early to mid-spring, and then of course, you know, it goes green mid-August here. Behind it here is Kamoi Nashiki. Really cool variegated maple. Get some swirling kind of powdery variegation on it, you can see. It's doing really good back here. This gets really filtered light back here under this big river birch. And I have some Rosa Sharons that may end up getting moved or cut down to let more light in here. That may be a next spring or fall project. This is Purple Pillar, Rosa Sharon. Some nice flowers on it. I can find one that's been opened. You can see in there, pink, kind of a reddish eye in the middle. Grows kind of columnar, but you're supposed to grow columnar, but this one is kind of sprawled out. It didn't get the light it needs with this river birch under it. Yeah, it's a Purple Pillar Rosa Sharon, two of them. May end up cutting those to the ground this next year. Alright guys, have another one. This is Seki no Kigan. Subodianum maple, low and weeping. Been doing really well right here. Gets morning sun till maybe lunch, if that. And it's great, intense fall color that I'm really looking forward to this year. Didn't get much fall color last year. Yeah, Seki no Kigan, really cool. Got a few conifers I'll show you. This is a dwarf Hinoki cypress. I can't even say the name. Let's see if I can find a tag. You know, this is Kamina something. I cannot recall the name. If I find the name, I'll flash it up here on the screen. Yeah, really cool dwarf Hinoki cypress. Got it tucked in under this deciduous magnolia right here. Got some viburnums back there. Huge viburnums. They're 12, 14 foot tall. Super white clusters of flowers. About April. And they're huge. I need to get in there and do some pruning. Another conifer I got next to it that surprisingly has done okay. Not fantastic. This is a sea urchin, Pinus strobus. Really cool bluish green foliage to it. Really slow growing. Grows in the kind of a ball shape. It's done a lot better than I thought it would back here. It gets shaded out at about after 2 o'clock, 12 o'clock, something like that. Yeah, sea urchin. See that foliage? Next to it here is Midori ni Chiboku, I believe it is. A low spreading Japanese maple. I think it only gets 3 or 4 foot tall, and it gets wider than it does tall probably. It's been here about a year. It's been doing okay. I've been doing horrible. Still adjusting a little bit. Got a little winter dieback that I still need to cut out. Yeah. Next to it, Japonicum called Gossamer, and this is a really slow grower. I want to say 4 or 5 foot, 10 years, maybe a little bit faster than that. But this one, it's doing okay. It's got some new growth coming out on it. That older growth, I've noticed they all get kind of a. I got another one, and it gets kind of a purple to blackish tint to the foliage. It's already trying to put on fall color on some of them, so I think it's struggling with the heat. Maybe where it's planted. I'll keep my eye on it, but it does have some new growth coming out on it, so that's good at least. All right, next to it, this is Shiraz. Looking pretty good. It's still got the white margins and a little bit of pinkish color in it on some of the leaves. But this thing gets bright pink and purple in spring. I believe as you get into more sun, it will kind of bleach out like it did. This gets a lot of sun where it's at, and it's done very well. Shiraz. Basically the same thing as Guess You're Gone Wild, I believe. Alright, these are my big yellow ribbon arborvitae. I know y'all seen them before, but they are pretty massive. I'd say they're 14, 15 foot tall. And the funny thing about it, these two were about 5 foot tall when I planted them, when they was planted. This third one, there was another one that was also 5 foot tall that got planted. The third one died out. Went and got a 3 gallon that was only maybe 18 to 22 inches tall. Planted it right here beside it. And it caught up to it. It's just as high as that one in the middle. And these two were 4 to 5 foot when I planted them. And this one died out, and this was a 3 gallon that got put in as about less than 2 foot tall. I'd say 18 to 22 inches tall, and it caught up to these. So really bright foliage on it, gold, great screen. Yeah, yellow ribbon arborvitae. And I have Japonicum here. Green Cascade. This thing is held up to the heat here. And I think maybe what's helping is these hibiscus. Yeah, that's good, good color contrast though. These hibiscus kind of shade the roots out. These are planted. These were already planted here. I just planted the Green Cascade kind of in between all of them. These hibiscus, you know, they just sucker out year after year, so they'll get a little wider each year, but they're slowed down on flowering a little bit. I put up a short on these not too long ago if you want to check that out. Really dark foliage on these. Storm Cloud. No, not Storm Cloud. I'll put the name of them up so I can remember. Really dark purple foliage on it. Green's out. Really nice contrast with this green cascade. Been super heat tolerant. Handled the sun like a champ right here. Here is a newly planted one. This is Ojishi. This is Lion's Head Maple. This was actually a gift by Maple Nuts, the YouTube channel Maple Nuts. And check that out. Got new growth coming on top of it. This was planted only 3 or 4 days ago. This grows columnar, real slow. Gets I guess about 6 foot tall, 5, 6 foot tall over 15 years. I don't have a shishi share; those get huge. So this was an alternative to a slower growing one. They get 5, 6 foot tall over 10, 15 years. So I was super excited that Maple Nuts sent me this. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate that. Yeah, Ojishi. That'd be real nice in another few years as it fills out. Next to it, have Kanezu Hagoromo, which has exploded with new growth on it. This was planted earlier this year, I'd say May or June, maybe earlier than that. Yeah, maybe earlier than that, maybe early spring. But it's exploded with new growth, as you can see there. Cecilifolium type. All that new growth in the middle. New growth up top. And this one is just hung in there like a champ in full sun. You know, it gets this color. This is the flushes that comes out in the spring, that color. And then it darkens, you know, it's going to darken. This is the old foliage. It's all darkened out. It's got a little bleaching. It does get a lot of sun, but I've been real happy for how it's handled it. Kanezu Hagoromo. Check that out if you hadn't. Angel feather type. Cecilifolium. Next to it, this is Kurinajishi. This is the red Lion's Head Maple, which is not red now, but in spring it'll get dark to bright red, tightly layered growth. Really small. I've had this one for a few years. This was basically a really small 1 gallon when I got it, and I want to say I've had this one 2.5 years, and it's maybe 14 inches tall, if that. Yeah, 14, 15 inches tall. So a really slow grower. Behind it here is Tiger Rose. One I've not been very impressed with. One that just needs to be cut back, honestly. Get a lot of the growth up top, nothing in between it, and all the growth down at the bottom. So this is one that, I'm gonna be honest, I have not enjoyed at all. Has not impressed me very much. So, and it may put on some good fall color, who knows? But I'll leave it here until fall or next winter, and I'll end up taking this out. Next to it is, I'm sorry, I forgot about this. This is a cryptomeria. This is a huge cryptomeria I had. This is about a 7 gallon when I planted it. I planted it in the front yard, front flower bed. Actually moved it, I dug it out this past November or October, I believe. And I ended up putting it back here next to my crabapple and this little bed that I'm trying to make that I have not been able to finish. But Lobos Nano Cryptomeria. It'll end up getting 5 to 6 foot tall, over probably 10 or 12 years, maybe longer than that, and probably just as wide. But tips flushing that new growth. Really hardy, handles sun like in the heat great. Did get a little winter damage. It wasn't actually planted until after, I think this past spring. I think he got left out. I just mounded some dirt around it and ended up moving it right here, and it survived. So yeah, it's been really tough. All right, this is a newly planted, this is a limelight hydrangea. This was basically just a rooted branch that came off another one. I have a big one, or a couple big ones over here. I'll show you. That was just this was a branch that just rooted, and I cut it off, put it in the pot, and put it in the pot for 6 to 8 weeks, and now it was a full 1 gallon. So planted it, and there's another one, same thing, another rooted branch, same thing, cut it off, put it in the pot after it rooted, full 1 gallon, limelight hydrangeas. And that's some I've had for about 10 years. They get 6, 7 foot tall every year. I cut them back to about 2.5 feet tall in the late winter, early spring, and they shoot right back up. Grow 5 foot over the spring and summer, late spring and summer. So, an oldie but a goodie, I would say. Hey guys, we're at about 26 minutes in this video, so I'm gonna end part 1 here, and I'll pick part 2 back up at another time. So, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.